Good afternoon, everyone. I am Hannah Cole, the Life Enrichment Coordinator, and before I introduce our pianist for the program this evening, I just wanted to make a quick announcement. If everybody could please turn off or silence their cell phones, that would be great. We have an excellent performer, and we really want a peaceful performance, so I really appreciate you doing that. And without anything else, I'm going to go ahead and let Vincent Van Gelder come on up.
Thanks, Heather. Good afternoon. I think some people already saw part of this program on Sunday, and so today I'm playing the longer version of that program. It's a Christmas-inspired program. I'm just going to put my bottle down here. That means there's Christmas music on it, but it's not all Christmas music. The first part consists of pieces from a very famous ballet. It's called The Nutcracker by Tchaikovsky. And Tchaikovsky wrote this in 1892, and he also wrote an orchestral suite without ballet. The ballet was not popular in the beginning, only the suite was. The ballet became obviously very popular later on, especially in the United States. Every Christmas, I have several piano students playing the mouse or other kinds of creatures in that production. In 1957, Russian pianist Mikhail Pletnyov was born in Russia, and he won in 1978 the Tchaikovsky competition, which is one of the biggest piano competitions in the world. That same year, he composed the piano version of the Nutcracker Suite, of which I'm playing a large part today. Incidentally, he studied at Moscow Conservatory with Yakov Flier and Lev Plazenko, which also are the teachers of two of my piano teachers. So there's a little bit of a connection there. The pieces I'm performing today is the March of the Tin Soldiers, the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, the Pine Forest in Winter, a Chinese dance which is called Tea, and then a pas de deux, which is French for a two-step. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. Yeah, the last piece is very orchestral, I think. The next part is going to be a piece that is called The Little Bell, La Campanella in Italian, and it's not a Christmas piece, but it's called The Little Bell, so, you know, it sounds like Christmas to me. It's one of the Paganini etudes. Violin virtuoso Niccolo Paganini wrote 24 capricciosos for violin, which were deemed unplayable, and he was one of the first, I guess the first pop star on violin. And then Franz Liszt came, and he saw him play, and he wanted to do the same for the piano. So he wrote 6 of them for piano. Now this one particular one is actually from a melody from a violin concerto by Paganini, and in that concerto there's a little handbell which makes sound. How do you chimes? I guess, you know. And so with the piano, that is a very awkward jump all the time to a high note. So this is the third one of the 6 Paganini etudes by Liszt. Yes, that's why they're called Paganini etudes. And they're all that difficult. And so is a lot of Liszt's music, obviously. Because he could play everything. That's why. At 14 he was the best player in the world. So. Yes, and all schools, like the Russian school, the French school, are both built on his piano technique. And so is my piano technique, because my teachers studied with teachers that studied with Liszt. So, and composition techniques as well. So when I compose, there's a lot I'm indebted to Liszt, and also composers like Debussy and Ravel, and some modern composers as well. Let's see, what time is it? Can't really see that. I have a couple more options here today. So the next one, I think it's going to be a short piece, which is written by Schumann. You may have heard of him. He is mainly a piano composer, but he has a concerto as well and some symphony stuff. He wrote the Carnival, and in the Carnival is one piece that's played a lot as an encore. And the name of the piece is Chopin, which is a composer as well. And it's obviously dedicated to Chopin. And it's a short one-page piece, depending on the edition you play. And I made a transcription of that, so I will play that for you. And transcription meaning I added notes. The next piece is a little bit longer, about 5 minutes. It's called Home-Cooked Meals. I wrote the music, and if you remember my daughter, some of you might, she did her first animated movie, and I wrote the music. Now the animated movie is not yet published, so we don't have that here, but this is the music for it, which I wrote over the summer. And hopefully in one of the movie festivals this animation will be admitted this coming year. So just a little bit quickly about Natalie, if you remember, some of you do. She is at UNCG right now, but she's going to be studying in Paris next year. So in one of the top schools, so that's very nice. And I hope to bring her maybe next time, because we're doing some new works together where the artwork is hers and the music is mine. So Home Cooked Meals is a piece, it's kind of an impressionist animation, in the sense there is no spoken word in it. There are sound effects a little bit. She recorded some of the theater students from UNCG to make some giggling noises and all that. And it's about home-cooked meals, meaning it's after the apocalypse and there is a lot of, broken buildings and everything, and there's a metro, or a subway actually, that's called in America, a subway on high pillars. And these people, they made a restaurant in there to help everybody. That's why it's home-cooked meals, because they also live there. And then there's a little girl they adopt because she's homeless and alone. So they cook meals together, and that's all what it's about, basically. So I thought that feels like Christmas as well. So hope you enjoy. So if you know Debussy, I think there I allowed some influence from that French Impressionist composer. I hope you get to see it at some point. I hope we can do it live, gonna be tricky because the works you have maybe seen some of you before, they're still images. And if you do a live performance of a moving animation, you can imagine I have to have headphones or something and keep up with the score. Because some of those effects that you heard in there, they coincide, special things like they're flipping an egg and it turns around in the air and lands on the pen. So that has to be exactly, happening. So I hope we can do it, because we have a screen here. So the last piece I'm playing today is another transcription by myself. It's on a very famous piece, Carol of the Bells. So it's an actual Christmas. Well, it was not really actually written as a Christmas song. So it was written by a Ukrainian composer, Mykola Leontovich, in 1914, I believe. And it's about a swallow coming to a family and promising them a bountiful year. So you all know this choir piece. And the 2 pages of the choir piece became 28 pages of piano music. Hope you enjoy. transcription fashion, right? There's a lot of notes. Hope you enjoyed that, and a Merry Christmas, I would say. And I will end today with a little lullaby. It's also immediately the encore, if you may. Lullaby from one of my first, actually my first large-scale work, half an hour long, obviously with my daughter's artwork, which will be world premiered in Iceland in the big concert hall at Harpa there. If you have ever been there, it's a beautiful concert hall. It's made entirely of glass and steel and right on the ocean. So if you're in the foyer there, you only see water. And a very nice piano we had there, and it was in Iceland because, as some of you may know, it was based on Icelandic legends. And my daughter, when she was 13, she did a story on that. And well, then she did all the artwork, and then I did the music. And then one of those movements is a lullaby, where a little elf girl falls asleep in a cave. It's very short, and it's by far the piece with the least notes I've ever written, and probably also my favorite piece. So.